Wendy here at Morningside Nature Center, and today we're going to talk a little bit about repurposing. So taking something that you think you no longer need and making something else with it. So being that it's the holiday season, you might have some extra wrapping paper from unwrapping a gift, and you can take some of that paper, cut out the bits that are still nice and straight, and you can cover a tin can with that to make an organizer for your markers, pencils, and pens. Something else you can do, if you have finished up a roll of wrapping paper, you can take the tube and you can make a rainmaker with it. And we're going to learn how to do that today. For your organizer, you will need a tin can, paper, a ruler, tape, and scissors. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our organizer for your pens and pencils and markers. So we've already gotten this one. Here's a smaller one. So what you can do is you can measure how tall it is with a ruler. So this is almost 5 inches. And then it's hard to use a ruler on something that's round, right? So if you have an extra bit of string or maybe your shoelace, you can just wrap that around your can. Okay, so it ends there. So you can take that and put it up against your ruler, and that is a little more than 9.5, so 9 3/4 we'll call it. So then you're going to take your paper, hopefully on your used paper you'll be able to find an area that is big enough to use. And sometimes on the back of the wrapping paper they'll have squares, and that measures out 1 inch at a time. So we'll do 5 there, and I believe we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that should work for us. Okay, and then you just take some tape and get it all taped up nicely, and there you have it. You have another organizer to keep everything straight. For your rainmaker, you will need a cardboard tube, straight pins, glue, a brown paper bag, rubber bands, and a filling like rice, beans, pebbles, or acorns. All right, before we make our rain sticks, let's talk a little bit about the origin of the rain stick. So it's believed that rain sticks originally came from northern Chile. The indigenous people there made the rain sticks out of cactus that grew there, and they would harvest the cactus and then hammer the spikes into the cactus and then use pebbles to fill it, and when they played it, it would sound a lot like rain, and it's believed that they would use that to call the rains when it was really dry and they needed to have rain to drink and to rain for their crops. So today I'm going to talk about some of the things that we can use because we don't have those cactuses around here. So you just need a tube. So you could use a paper towel tube if you don't have a wrapping paper tube, but wrapping paper tubes are a nice length. These tubes, this one is pretty gigantic. This one was left over from when we purchased something, some cane poles actually. This is another tube that I found. If you have a carpet tube, or maybe the hardware store might have extra tubes from where they rolled out carpet, that's a gigantic tube. So you just need a tube. Each of the cardboard tubes has a natural little stripe where the seam is, and I like to just kind of follow that around, and that works out well. Today we're going to use some straight pins to work with our paper towel tube. You can also use toothpicks, but you need the square kind, and I was having a really hard time finding any of the square ones at the store. So then after you pick your tube and you have what you're going to drive into your tube, then you just need something to go in the middle to make the sound as it hits each of the little pokey bits. So here I have rice, I gathered up some acorns, I have some bird seed here, I have some beans, and then I also have some small rocks. But it just depends on what you have at your house and what you have access to. You know, don't go using some rice that your mom or dad is planning to cook that night for dinner, of course. All right, so now here's the tube that I'm going to use. I'm going to try to clear up the space a little bit here. So I'm just going to use the straight pin here and start on this seam here where the cardboard is coming together. And I'm just going to poke it through. And it's pretty easy to poke through. If you're having a little bit of difficulty, you can make your own thimble if you'd like. You can find something that is, you know, firm to help you poke it through. Like this lid could help me if my hands are getting a little tired or sore. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke through about every ½ inch or so on this little spiral. Okay, now that you have all of your pins in your seam about a ½ inch to 1 inch apart, you're ready to go to the next step. So you're going to need some end caps. So in order to plug the end there, I've got some brown paper here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my pencil here and trace the circle on the bottom of your tube. Okay, once you have that circle, then you're going to kind of just freehand another circle around there that's about double the size of the first one. Okay, and then I can go ahead and cut that out. And it doesn't have to be cut out perfectly. So now that I have that cut out, I'm also going to draw 4 lines going from the inside circle to the outside circle. You can do 2 1/2, and then the other 2 and the other half there. So, and I can take my scissors here and then cut the spokes. Now if you cut a little too far, you may come across the problem that some of your filling might fall out. So if you want to be a little less on the cutting side, you can make your cover a little bit bigger. Alright, so that's going to fit on the end of your tube, and the cuts just make it a little bit easier for you to kind of fold it there. And now it's nice and folded, and I'm going to take my rubber band and just rubber band the end of it. So that's how you do your covers there. But before you put your cover on, you want to do your filling. And so if you have a funnel is going to help you get your filling into your tube there a lot easier. And it's just up to you what filling you use. I have my kidney beans here, and I really like the way that sounds, and it is getting a little plugged up there, so I'm going to pour it this way. So I really like the way that sounds, and it just depends on what sound you like. You might like the way the birdseed sounds better, or the rice, and it's kind of fun just to play around with the way it sounds and see what you like. And you can make multiple tubes. You can have, you know, kidney beans in one, the rice in another, and you can have the different tones for, just how you're feeling that day. Now, after you have your filling in there, you also need to have some glue. Just regular Elmer's glue is fine. And what you want to do is you want to go and put a little dab of glue on each end of the little pins that you have, or if you used toothpicks, you're going to put a little dab of glue at the end of the toothpick, and this will help make sure that whatever you have used doesn't poke back out and come out. And you may have to do this in segments if you don't want to get the glue on the table. So do a segment, a couple inch segment of those pins, let it dry, an hour or so, and then continue on. Once that's all done, then you have your basic rain stick. But if you want to go and decorate, you can paint it, you can use crayons, you can use markers, but it's just kind of a fun project to get your creativity going. And thank you for joining me today, and happy creating.